business tips to successfully start and run your business so your business doesn't run you. And more importantly, we provide personal development tools to create a better version of yourself to provide the solid foundation for your life and business to stand upon. This is the Biz Reveal, and I'm your host, Craig Sawyer. This week's episode is sponsored by Sawyer Health Solutions. Protecting what's important to you is what's important to us. Get your free health insurance quote at SawyerHealthSolutions.com. A retired chiropractor turned consultant and coach, Dr. Kelly Henry has more than 20 years of business experience and knowledge that provides insights on building and sustaining a successful business. Dr. Henry's passion is coaching businesses how to implement and provide exceptional customer service to skyrocket their business. After the show, learn more at www.drkellyhenry.com. This is the Biz Reveal podcast with this week's guest, Dr. Kelly Henry.
Well, let me tell you how I even got into providing great customer service in my practice. When I opened a practice in Southeast New Mexico, the small community where we moved to, near where my wife was from, many of the businesses have been there for many years, not a whole lot of competition. And so when we started working with these different companies, their number one priority wasn't customer service. They could really care less how they treated you. They could flip on their lights, open their doors, and you had to do business with them. And that drove me nuts. And so it took me maybe a week or two, maybe a month or two before I decided, hey, I am not going to treat my patients like this. I'm going to be different than the typical business here in this community. So that's what piqued my interest into. It wasn't for me to grow my business. It wasn't for any other reason of I hated being treated like a second class citizen with some of these businesses. I was going to be different. But what happened though is we started doing that, and we started focusing on our patients and saying, hey, we're here for you. We want to make this a great experience. We want you to feel valuable and important when you come into this office. Well, all of a sudden we had this positive feedback loop of the patients going, man, we just love coming in here. We feel like we're the most important person in the world when we come into this office. And we just got that constant feedback. And obviously that piqued my interest a little bit more of, okay, well, let's tweak this and let's do more of this. And let's just keep adding the layers to providing better and better service for my patients. So I guess that kind of fills the story there, but that's the beginning of this journey for me on providing stellar customer service and learning more about it and tweaking it and implemented it to the nth degree as I went through my own business.
Yeah, and when people come into your office and they feel special, I mean, that's the whole thing. You don't want to make them feel like just another number, just another paycheck in the register there. So people feel comfortable, they come back. So exactly. I guess kind of what it comes down to me, like the first question I want to ask is, what is customer service to you? What is the definition of it for you?
My simple definition is a relentless focus on the customer, patient, client, whatever word you want to put there, but a relentless focus on them and making them feel their best each and every time they interact with you. That's basically it.
And you can't really sum it up any better than that. I mean, that's like a banner you should hang in the office there.
It pretty much sums up, yes, the mission statement of how I feel every business should have.
Right. And a lot of things have changed over the years. And I'm going to ask a couple parts to this question. But I guess first and foremost, when people think about customer service, this has got to be the thing that pops up every time. Is the customer always right?
No, they're not. But it's how you make them feel even when they're not right is the key component. I like to, I use a story, and in fact, it's in my book of, when I was a kid, and you could probably say the same thing. You get in your mind, hey, I want this toy. I want this toy, and you're begging your parents for it, or, you're saying, hey, I want this toy. I need this toy, your mom and dad. And then they just say, no, there's no explanation. It's just, no, you can't have that. And it just devastates your little kid heart, Well, so many times in business realm, a customer will come up, hey, I need this, or, whatever the case may be, or want this. And the answer is no, we don't do that. And just breaks their little customer heart. And it's just how you focus on treating them. Now, maybe you don't provide that service. Maybe you can't do that particular item that the customer is asking for or wanting or needing, but you can still frame it in a way that's going to make them feel valuable and make them feel special. Mr. Customer, we can't do that, but this is what we can do. This is what we do provide. Let's move forward with that. Or if the customer is blatantly wrong, don't point fingers at them and, man, you are an idiot. We've had a lot of customers that have had this very same problem. I feel for you. Let's get this taken care of and get this situation taken care of. It's just that focus on making sure the customer feels valuable, even if they're wrong or even if you can't provide the service. It's just that relentless focus on creating that value for that customer.
And I would expect in the chiropractic field, because I've been to a chiropractor numerous times, and I am not unlike probably the majority of the people that you have in there, is people come to you at their worst, right? Exactly. You get the people in there that are doing it as a preventative measure, knowing, hey, I'm just taking care of myself and I'm staying ahead of the curve here. But I would expect the majority of the people are there because they waited too long and now they're just all screwed up, right? So right. I would imagine one of your biggest customer service issues, and correct me if I'm wrong here, would be that you can't do enough fast enough for them, but you can't fix their problem in one visit.
There's a lot of truth to that statement, yes.
How do you handle that when you're trying to let them know, hey, look, it took you 10 years for this problem to progress. It's going to take a little bit longer than 10 minutes to get it backwards. How would you handle that with the customer service thing in mind?
You just kind of summed it up. You need to communicate that thought to them. That the analogy I used to use all the time is having a cavity in one of your teeth, and then all of a sudden having pain, my tooth is killing me. Well, your tooth didn't start. Yes, your tooth started hurting right now, but the decay started 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and nothing was done to take care of it. Now you're feeling the ramification. Same thing happens with the spine. You fell off the house 2 years ago and then chose not to do anything about it, thought you were good. You've lived, you've done, you've worked, you've played, and now all of a sudden things aren't feeling so good. And it's not pointing fingers and saying, hey, it's your fault, you idiot. It's just helping understand that, there's consequences and things build up, and your pain, yes, it started today, but what actually is causing your pain started many, many days ago, weeks ago, months ago, that type of situation.
See, and I like that you did that too, because you're explaining things in a normal, commonsensical, everyday kind of way, right? You're not getting all technical, because I'm sure as a chiropractor, you could get very technical and start talking about the C3 or the, all the other different things that are going on in there. And trust me, I know about the C3. But
I'm impressed.
Well, I'm not, because of the reason why I know it sucks. But if you start talking technical, I'm in health insurance, so I have the same issue, that I have to put things in terms that people can actually understand. Nobody wants to know about premiums, co-pays, co-insurance. All that stuff is just a bunch of words. But if you talk to them about how it actually works for them in a specific situation that's they can relate to, now you're getting that relationship built up there. So go ahead.
Technical terms, excuse me, I didn't mean to jump in there, but to cut you off. Technical terms and creates confusion, and confusion creates uncertainty. And when you have uncertainty, people generally don't follow through.
Yeah, so, and then it's distrust.
Distrust, disloyalty. They don't know what they're supposed to do. So bring things back to simple terms, just like you said, so they can understand, so they can relate. They're more likely to follow through what they need.
How has customer service changed over the course of time, like the last 20, 30 years?
We've seemed to got away from customer service.
Is that because of technology?
Well, to some degree, the boom of technology, the boom of businesses, the boom of the economy, a lot of factors play in, and it's really watered down customer service. So, up until before the pandemic started last year, most businesses provide average customer service. And as consumers, we go into those businesses and that's that's the norm. Yeah. It's just average. Occasionally you'd get terrible customer service and occasionally you would get stellar customer service. But for the most part, it's just average, nothing spectacular about it. Your needs are met. It was satisfactory. That's the way it is.
I think
what separates.
I was just going to say, I think a lot of it has gotten impersonal. And when
Sure.
you're talking about, we've kind of gotten away from it, is, a lot of things are done electronically now. And so everything's kind of done by email or a text message or something like that. So you don't have that personal touch. I mean, even a phone call seems tremendously personal now, right? I mean, as impersonal as a phone call is, you're still not in front of them, things like that. But hearing somebody's actual voice, especially since it's so rare now, I think that even just a personal phone call, taking the time to do that, that's a good way to have good customer service right there. And it's just a simple phone call because everything's usually done via text or something like that now.
Well, and you could add personal touches to, phone call, certainly a personal touch, but to emails and text. And that's part of my program, what I teach my clients. Particularly texts get very, very informal. There's no please, thank you, good afternoon. It's just, hey, you have an appointment tomorrow, or, take this survey, those type of things. But it's never, hey, thanks for shopping with us. Thanks for buying from us. We really appreciate you. Those type of things. Just adding those niceties, a please, a thank you, a you're welcome. We appreciate you. Those type of things in a text can go a long ways because, again, it just has that personal touch. And again, it makes the customer feel valuable.
And it makes it feel less like it's a robotic, auto text kind of thing. That's true. That's a good point. Because I know a lot of the times when you're talking about marketing tips and things like that, you want to get straight to the point when it comes to a text, right? Because nobody wants to scroll. You want to see it all on one screen. And if you have to scroll, people aren't going to do it. It's too long. So sometimes maybe they think that if, I add that extra sentence or two to say, thank you for being, a loyal customer or whatever the case is, it makes the message too long. Now I can't do it. So I just get straight to the point. But I like that because that was going to be my next question is how do you personalize the technology? And that is a good way to do that. Do you, is text a good way to communicate and keep good customer service, emails, things like that? What type of technologies and how do you use the technologies and still have that good customer experience?
You can use technology as long as you are, again, adding those personal touches, but it also stems from, how that customer feels overall with their experience buying a product or having a service provided or whatever the case may be. So, if you have a cruddy product, if you have a cruddy service, they were in your office, they were in your business and things were not that great. Well, you can send a nice email, you can send a nice text, and it's really not going to mean anything to them. So again, the whole foundation, the whole culture, the whole system has to be focused on providing stellar customer service. And this is where a lot of businesses get tripped up. And they think that they provide great customer service as a whole. But the reality is they have a piece here and a piece here and a little bit here that they think that, well, because I have these pieces, that those are really the keys and that's what classifies us as having great customer service. And that's just not the key because they have huge gaping holes here and here and here that the customers see. That's what they focus on because, human nature is we focus on the negative. So they have these holes, these negative experiences. That's what they focus on. And so the customer service that the business thinks they provide, when you survey the customer, they're like, no, they're nowhere near that. So that, again, that is that's something I talk with business owners about all the time and help kind of take those blinders off and help them realize, you know what? Yeah, you do have a little bit of great customer service, but overall you could be so much better. So
the companies might be looking at one thing, thinking they're doing great customer service, but the thought process of their actual customers could be completely different. So What's the best way to find that out? You mentioned, surveys. So
Absolutely.
Kind of walk us through that. Like, what is a customer survey? How would you present it to your customers? And then what do you do with it once you get it?
I do it very simplistically. I'm a simple kind of guy, so I just like simple things. 2-question survey. Send it to your customers. You can email it. You could text it. You can give it in paper form. You ask them first, rate our customer service, rate your experience on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being great. And then if they scale it at a 8 or less, then you ask them, where did we fall short? Where could we be better? How could we improve? And then you take those customers that rated you below an 8 as gold and see where the holes are.
Why pay for car insurance every month if you're a safe driver and have never been in a car accident? Because insurance is not for when things are going good. Insurance is for when things go wrong. And you need to have it there at all times so that when that time comes, you have the coverage you need. Health insurance is no different. When you are healthy, it may seem unnecessary to pay for health insurance, but everybody is healthy until they're not. What happens when something goes wrong? An accident around the house, a necessary surgery, or perhaps a virus that has taken the planet by storm? What then? You need to make sure you have a plan in place to protect yourself, your family, and your financial security. Health insurance is there to make sure all the pieces are put back together again. But you can also be rewarded for your good health history and pay much less for better benefits, and we can show you how. Sawyer Health Solutions. Great health coverage when you need it most, but more affordable for when you don't. Yeah, that's going to help you improve your business itself. So yeah, that's obviously something to build on. Now, if you have somebody that rates you a 5, a 6, a 2, do you reach out to them?
Absolutely. Now, you got to consider the source too. Maybe that person has a bad day. Maybe they're just a chronic complainer. It doesn't matter what you do. They ain't going to give you anything better than a 3.
Right.
It doesn't. But you can still reach out. You can still talk to them. You can still see, hey, what happened? Let's communicate, because people love that.
Sure.
Most people are not, even if they have a terrible experience, they're not going to rate you, necessarily below a 5, unless it's just atrocious. But you do need to reach out to those people, those complaints, those people that actually are honest enough to say, hey, this is what happened. You fell short. And if you'll reach out to them, communicate with them, tell them, hey, we are sorry. We appreciate your feedback. We want to make this right. Where did we fall short? And how can we make this right for you? That is huge in the customer's eyes and to keep them. But 2, that complaint, that information, if one customer had that experience, there's probably a handful, if not a bunch more, that have had that same experience. Right. So you can really fill in some of those giant holes and gaps in your customer service when you get those complaints and you look at them and take them seriously and do something about it.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, if typically, and of course you always have your one-offs, but typically if one customer, like you said, is having an issue, that's probably a sign that there's something missing in your program or in your service that you give overall, and it gives you an opportunity to fix it. And I think, to point that out as well, when you reach out to them, you're showing them that you actually care about their experience. So you may care enough to try to give them good customer service, but when they have a bad experience, you just shrug it off, but it's nice that, hey, if I got a call, I mean, because you've been at a restaurant, right? And you've had the really crappy waitress, or, the food was bad, but you go there all the time and it was a one-off kind of thing. You're willing to brush it off. It's like, hey, it was just a bad day. It happens. But if it was the only time you've ever been there, now you're rating that place just on that one visit, and it could be just a one-off kind of meal, and you want to give them the opportunity to fix it. So I think, as customers, we also have a responsibility to do that, to give the business, an adequate opportunity to service the way that we want to be. So what are the most common ways that businesses provide bad customer service? We're talking about some of the good. What's some of the bad? What are the most common things that businesses do that is just wrong, makes you cringe?
Well, the 2 things that I always mention to my customers, my clients, and then those that I'm communicating with is ego and pride kill customer service. So you got to be able to, again, customer service, that word, service in particular, service means looking out for somebody else and focusing on somebody else. So many businesses get in the mindset of sales first instead of service first. And this is probably the biggest issue, the biggest mindset problem that businesses will fall into that keep them from providing great customer service, because they're so dialed into getting customers and just creating more sales, making more transactions instead of creating relationships and serving more, which ultimately adds to creating more transactions and business. But they don't see that necessarily. It's just, we've got to do this. We've got to have this new marketing. We've got to do this sales technique, those type of things. So that is a huge, huge piece that, like I said, many businesses fall into that keeps them from providing great customer service.
Yeah. Always remember, income is the outcome, not the objective.
Exactly.
I think if you serve people right, then the sales will come, because they feel special. They feel like you do care. They do matter. And, and you shouldn't have to act like you care. You really honestly should care about your customers. They are the reason why you're in business in the first place, and they pay all the bills for you.
Customers can tell a difference too between the acting and actually,
we're all customers, right?
If they're just going through the motions and putting up the front that, we're here to serve you. Generally, the ones that do that say, yeah, we provide stellar customer service. They champion it and they vocalize it a lot, and then their actions speak a whole lot louder than words.
So we keep saying it, customer service, and we know what it is as far as an overall general subject of customer service. And I know that we're talking about broad subjects here, a lot of different industries. So your customer service is going to vary depending on the industry, on what you can and cannot provide to, for customer service. But can you give me like an idea, a couple tips, maybe 3 things that a business owner should be looking at to be able to provide good customer service? Because so many times in business, we say things, mottos, or we have, different, banners up there, cliche type things, always provide good customer service, but saying it doesn't make it happen if people don't know what it actually means. So what is customer service? How do we obtain it? How do we get that good customer experience?
Well, again, that's a broad question because, there's so many different industries, so many different businesses. Here's a formula that I give that will fit most every industry, most every business. And I call it the 3F formula. So, and this goes a long ways in providing stellar customer service for any business. First thing is being friendly. Customer service starts with friendly, the middle's friendly, the end's friendly. There's a lot of layers to friendly and doing it and being able to provide that on a regular basis. But it's all about being friendly. Again, being friendly equates to showing value, showing that customer they're important, those type of things. But being friendly, it all starts there. Second thing is being fast. So we live in a microwave society. Everybody loves fast and convenient. The more convenient, the faster you can provide a service, the faster you can get a customer a product, the faster you can return phone calls, the faster you can send out an email, the faster you can do your business for your customer, the better. In fact, customers will actually look at a business that is a fast and efficient and is convenient over, they'll want that more than they want to be felt or made to be. They like the convenience more than they want to be
more than the friendliness even.
And special.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't get that out of my mouth there.
More coffee, man. That's why I'm wired today.
Exactly. So, but they want that convenience. That is a huge piece. So the more convenient, the faster you can make your business, the better. And then the third F is being able to fix problems efficiently, or service recovery is really the technical term there. So problems happen. Businesses drop the ball. Customers drop the ball. It doesn't matter. But to be able to fix those problems, do it efficiently, make the customer still feel valued no matter what the problem is, and do it to the satisfaction of the customer goes a long ways with them sticking around and creating that relationship and that bond of loyalty with those business. So
I agree.
Friendly, fast, and fixing problems are the 3 F's of great customer service.
I like that. And when you mentioned fast, one of the things that came to my mind is when you're expedient and accurate, of course, not just fast and, making a bunch of mistakes, but, fast and accurate, it also portrays an image that you are organized and professional. If you're really slow at getting back to people one, it makes them feel like they're just not important. Hey, I'm not their priority. But it also shows that you are good at what you do. You do it all the time. You have a system set in place that you can, click, click, click. You're on the ball and organized, and it puts a good image forth on the company.
Creates a lot of confidence. When you have confidence,
it's everything.
Key component to building that relationship.
Yeah, that's everything. And I know we talked about the surveys, the customer surveys. What are some other ways that you can gauge the levels of customer service that you may or may not have?
Well, three things that I love simplicity. And I got these three things from Jack Welch, the well-known CEO of General Electric. Things that he wanted to monitor was the customer satisfaction. We talked about that already. The second thing is you need to monitor the employee satisfaction, because happy employees generally equate to happy customers. So you need to have a great culture for your employees.
That's an aspect I wouldn't have thought of, but that's very true. If your employees are happy, they're putting forth a better effort and they're more friendly. Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely. So if you're cracking the whip and not treating your employees real good, but you in turn expect them to turn around and treat the customers well, that doesn't work real well. So there's that old sign that says, the beatings will continue till morale improves. That doesn't fly anymore. So it certainly doesn't help customer service. And then the last thing is cash flow. Just follow the cash. If you're treating your customers better and they're liking you and wanting to stay with you, they're going to continue to buy from you. And if they like you and they feel like they're being valued, they're going to tell their friends and family and acquaintance about you, and you're going to get referrals, and it builds the business up. And obviously that's going to help create cash flow and increase cash flow. So those three things: cash flow, customer satisfaction, and employee satisfaction.
And speaking on kind of the satisfaction part of it, just like you would do surveys to find out who's happy and who's not, and build upon that and make your service better based off of those results. Would you also try to take some of those 9s and 10s and convert those into testimonials to, put forth that effort for, I know it's not necessarily customer service, but it's kind of giving potential customers, future customers, a reason to come to you in the first place?
Absolutely. You can use that because, again, that's word of mouth marketing, and that's the best kind of marketing, obviously. One thing that kind of on the side note of that, so many businesses they champion the Google reviews. Yes. I've got 4,000 5-star reviews. And what I've found through my research and through the years of studying this is, not for every business, but a lot of businesses, they'll grab those surveys, grab those 5 stars within just 1 or 2 interactions with the business. And I call that the honeymoon period, where the customers, oh yeah, things are pretty good. I'll just give them a 5-star because I like them and they've done a pretty good job. But if you went back to those same customers, are they still with them in 6 months or a year? Are they still buying from them? And if they are, what would they survey in them? And that's some of the resistance I get with business owners are, our customer service is great because we have X amount of 5-star reviews. Well, those 5-star reviews don't necessarily equate to how great your customer service is. It's kind of a false sense of security. So we have to be careful with that. And I also tell, coming from the chiropractic realm and health realm, you can't be too healthy. You got to constantly work on your health and do the things to make yourself healthier. Well, the same thing with business and customer service. You can't have you can't be too good at customer service. You got to keep working towards it, improving it, refining it, no matter how good you think it is. So let's continue to move forward to that.
Yeah. Don't get content. Don't get stagnant with it. Keep improving, because the times change. Like, that's why I asked you, how has it changed over the last 20 to 30 years? Because if you go back to the 50s, everything was all about the customer's always right? You bend over backwards, and we should, do everything we can, but your business should have its niche, and you service to that niche, not necessarily all niches, right? So that's, where the customer's not always right, but you try to do everything you can. If you can't help them, if you don't have what it takes, maybe have some resources available to point them in the right direction, because again, that's good customer service as well. Even if you don't have what it takes for them, or you're not the best person, maybe you can help, but somebody else or something else that can help them even better. Have those resources available, know your competition, and know when your customer should be not your customer and they'd be better better off being a customer of somebody else just because they can help them in a better way.
Absolutely. And that's a pretty telltale sign of great customer service when you refer somebody to a competitor and say, hey, listen, what you need, we're not going to be able to provide as great a service as, Joe Blow down the street or who, whatever.
That builds confidence. And I think that's also a great way for referrals. In my business, that it's a great way to get referrals because they can be like, you know what, Craig couldn't help us, but he was super nice. And he gave us the contact information of somebody who could help us, or he had that person call us or whatever the case is, so I still helped, even though I couldn't help them with my product or my service, I can still help. And that's the whole point, is to help as much as you can possibly help, right? In whatever context that means, is you want to help them in whatever way. So going back to what you said at the very beginning of this, the saying, nope, can't help you, and it shouldn't stop there.
Right.
You may not be able to help them. Don't act like you can if you can't, but at least point them in the right direction. Yeah. Kelly, thank you so much, man. That's our time for today. I appreciate you chatting with me. And if you wouldn't mind, tell the listeners how they can reach out to you, learn a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. Easiest way to get a hold of me is through my website, drkellyhenry.com. So that's all one word, drkellyhenry.com. You can find out more about me, about my programs, about my book, which is Define and Deliver Exceptional Customer Service. And just a little more about the book. I call it a customer service success manual. It's not full of fluff. It's very much to the point. Very simplistic, full of ideas, action items, principles that a business owner, really any business owner, can take, implement, and start providing better customer service. You can find the links to that. You can also go to Amazon and find the book, and I have it in all forms, soft copy, hard copy, digital, and for those who like to listen to books, the Audible copy. So I know a lot of people like that. So you can find that on the website as well. You can also find a free downloadable PDF on my website, my 5 top actions to immediately improve your customer service. So you can just go on there, click on the button, and get that PDF off my website. So again, that's drkellyhenry.com. Again, you can find me there, Dr. Kelly Henry, on Facebook and on LinkedIn too, if you want to use those platforms.
Awesome. Kelly, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day today to talk to us.
Thank you, Craig. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us this week. Go to our website at thebizreveal.com to catch all of our past episodes. We're available on all podcast apps, or you can watch any of our episodes on the Biz Reveal YouTube channel. I'm Craig Sawyer, and this is the Biz Reveal. Till next time.